Lately, we have had several requests to review the UPS franchise, and thank you very much for those requests. Is it a good franchise to own? Are there bad points? What are the good points? Now, taken from their 2017 FDD, a traditional UPS store is going to cost you $177,000 to $402,000. Royalties 5%, marketing 1%, and there is a national ad fee of 2.5%. We're going to get into some additional fees a little later on in the video. Now, to clarify the business relationship, the UPS Store Inc. is the franchisor, and UPS, the company that we get all the parcels from, owns these franchise stores and the retail storefronts which offer mail and parcel services. They also offer services, you've probably been in the stores, like notary, copying, office supplies, printing, and some other stuff. Now, there's no question UPS, it's a super well-known brand name, but like we've said in other videos regarding franchises like Subway or Quiznos, a big name doesn't necessarily mean security and wealth for its franchisees. And please don't think just because a franchise is well known that you can rely on what they tell you, or you don't have to do due diligence as you would with a smaller brand, because it's not simply true. Now, the UPS Store franchise, let's start right out. They've been no stranger to litigation and lawsuits over the years. When mailboxes, etc., switched to UPS back in 2003, they were sued class action style based on the assertion that this rebranding violated California, New York, and Illinois franchise laws. Now, many franchisees were unhappy when this change took place, and the general consensus seemed to be that their potential for making a profit was severely undermined once this mailboxes, etc., to UPS change took place. They feel more or less that UPS may have cheated them. Now, as a result of that lawsuit, 10 years later, 143 franchisees were awarded $4.2 million. The claims of that class action suit, however, were not part of that settlement, and as I understand, remains pending. Now, if you take a close look within the pages of the UPS franchise 550-page disclosure document, you'll see there's almost 10 pages of lawsuits. And these concern, in legal terms, things like breach of contract, fraud, negligent misrepresentation, and similar. Now, in non-legal terms, a lot of franchises apparently feel that they were screwed by UPS. Now, not to be outdone, UPS of America then sued a bunch of their own franchise owners. This was back in 2014 for things like trademark infringement, breach of contract, unfair competition, and, I'll take a deep breath here, failure to comply with post-termination provisions of their franchise agreements. Love those legal terms. Now, the franchise owner defendants denied all these claims and filed a countersuit against UPS stores. Now, last I heard, the franchise owners and their 11 stores had been ordered, they lost the case, and were ordered to pay UPS franchise $1 million. Now, there's other lawsuits that are against UPS franchise, right in their FDD, allegations of overcharging for their notary services, civil theft, slander, fraudulent use of personal identification without consent, and there is even some RICO Act, which is the mob stuff, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, in this FDD. Now, in defense of UPS, they do state right there they intend to vigorously defend against these allegations, and these allegations were seemingly against stores, and that sort of went up the ladder to UPS. Now, some initial fees in their FDD beyond the franchise fee that you may not notice. There's a software license fee of almost $5,000. There's an annual technology development and support fee of almost $1,300. There's a one-time point-of-sale vendor software fee of $500. And there is a training fee that, quite frankly, is presented in such a complicated manner, and we see a lot of these things. I have no idea what the training costs, but it does appear to be a few $1,000s. Now, once again, buried in these 550 pages, people, do your reading. If you don't complete your training in time, UPS has the right to charge you an ongoing fee every 90 days, ranging from $50 to $1,000 every 90 days. So you better get that training done if you intend to buy a UPS franchise. UPS stores show nothing but growth in their FDD. Take a look here. Only one store closed in a 3-year period. Wow, that's amazing. But once again, if you look elsewhere, you're going to see there were over 700 stores that changed hands over 3 years. Now, once again, I'm going to defend UPS here. In and of itself, that many stores selling is not necessarily a huge deal. But if you're exploring a UPS franchise, what I would recommend to our clients, call some of those people who sold their stores and find out why. Remember, all franchisees, this is any FDD, not just UPS, who recently left the system, whether they closed their doors, sold their store, whatever else, they have to be listed in that FDD. So pick up the phone, call some people, ask them what happened, and get the other side of the story. Now, as brokers, we have the benefit of hearing a lot of things, the word on the street, if you will, from owners and sellers of UPS stores, what their sentiments are, and frankly, a lot of what we hear is not positive. So much so that a lot of people in the past have taken to the internet, as people often do these days, to voice their concerns. Now, if you really want to see some in-depth analysis and the other side, the dark side, if you will, of UPS, take a visit to this website. I'm going to put the URL down below, the web address, in the description. And there is a ton of information that, if nothing else, is going to point you in a direction that you should definitely do some more research in. Now, there are many franchisees in here. They'll cover things that allegedly UPS did not disclose. And this comment from a 30-year owner of a UPS franchise states he'll likely be closed in a few years because of UPS changes. His final ominous comment, "Don't let UPS fool you." Several other franchisees state the business model that is based around printing is flawed, and you just can't make any money competing with local printing shops. This franchisee states before they invested, they were only shown stores by UPS that were doing very well. But after buying, they discovered that many owners are only making about $40,000 a year. Their personal experience with UPS after a few years of ownership, they didn't make 1 cent. There are some very insightful and in-depth comments on operational issues, including things like dimensional weight pricing and access point programs. This UPS franchisee left a long list of problems that he felt had adversely impacted him. He sold his UPS store a few years ago. This next franchisee left a comment outlining how the royalties apparently work out higher than you think, and how his location had closed shortly after he sold it. Anyway, you get the point here. If you Google UPS franchise complaints, if you visit this website, you'll hear more, you'll see more, and you'll get the other side of the story. As always, these franchises, they'll give you the rosy side of the story, as is their prerogative, and they're obviously very positive about their own franchise. But if you want to find potential problems, root out these issues, you're going to need to do due diligence on your own. Don't just trust the franchise to give you all the details, regardless of how large they are. Do your due diligence, always look at the good and the bad, and end up making a good decision. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us here at Franchise City YouTube channel. And if you need help researching or finding a franchise and hearing both sides of the story, you can learn more about us at franchise.city. Yep, that's .city, not .com. Thanks for watching.